The story begins at an oil refinery in Alaska, where workers spend 3 long and exhausting months in isolation. Here we are introduced to John Otway, a quiet and emotionally distant sniper who has recently taken a new job at the facility. The camp is filled with men society has mostly forgotten, workers trying to escape their pasts. John himself is unhappy there, but his duty is to protect the workers from environmental threats and dangerous wildlife surrounding the area. Later, while sitting alone at a bar, John remembers the happy moments he once shared with his former partner who left him. Back in his tent, he writes her a letter filled with regret, admitting that their separation was his fault. One night, overwhelmed by loneliness, he raises his rifle toward himself, ready to end his life, but thoughts of his late father stop him. Soon, the workers' rotation ends, and the group prepares to fly home. John boards the plane with them and throws away the unfinished letter. During the flight, he meets Flannery, a talkative young worker who tries to start a conversation, but John prefers silence, causing Flannery to move away. Only minutes after takeoff, turbulence shakes the aircraft, leaving passengers nervous and frightened. Flannery jokes about what they should do if the plane crashes, but Berg finds his humor inappropriate. Hours later, while John is asleep, the aircraft suddenly begins to malfunction and violently shake. Passengers complain about the freezing cold air entering the cabin. When John looks through the window, he notices the plane's wing bending under powerful winds. Realizing something is terribly wrong, he tightens his seatbelt just as the aircraft plunges downward. Panic spreads across the cabin as the plane breaks apart midair, killing many passengers before it even reaches the ground. When John regains consciousness, he finds himself lying on a snow-covered mountainside. He looks around and slowly moves forward until he discovers the wreckage of the crashed plane scattered across the frozen landscape. Among the debris, he finds several survivors, including Fernandez, who is in deep shock, and Flannery, who is unconscious. Together, they search for others and take shelter inside the broken remains of the aircraft to protect themselves from the brutal cold. One of the survivors, Luke, is critically injured, and despite John's efforts, there is nothing in the medical kit that can save him. Luke cannot believe his condition, and even when John tells him that he is dying, Luke tries to stay calm and accept the truth. Sadly, it doesn't take long before the pain overwhelms him, and he passes away. The remaining survivors mourn his death in silence. Among those still alive are Talget and Diaz, who angrily complains that the company never truly cared about them and will probably leave them there to die. John steps in and explains that if they want to survive, they must stay disciplined and act quickly. According to him, they won't last more than a week in those freezing conditions without a plan. The group gathers materials to start a fire, but the frozen bodies of the dead cannot be properly buried. As night falls, John patrols the surrounding area and discovers a flight attendant who appears to be alive. However, when he gets closer, he realizes a wolf is already feeding on her body. He scares the animal away, but the wolf attacks him. John fights back while the others rush toward the screams and manage to drive the animal off. Back at the wreckage, the group treats John's wounds. He warns them that there are likely more wolves nearby, but also reminds them that food and survival must remain their priority. John explains the hunting behavior of wolves, saying they can track prey across nearly 35 kilometers and will eventually return to attack again. He reveals that his job was to shoot dangerous animals to protect oil workers, and the wolves already recognize their group as weak and injured prey. Hearing this, the group decides to hide the dead bodies to avoid attracting predators. While checking the corpses, Diaz finds a watch equipped with a GPS signaling device that might help them later. When John catches Diaz looting valuables from the dead, he angrily scolds him, reminding everyone that survival, not greed, is what matters now. Later, as they gather around the campfire, the survivors try to talk and keep morale alive, but John remains alert. Suddenly, a deep and haunting howl echoes nearby. John immediately warns everyone to stay calm. When they raise a torch toward the darkness, they see a pack of wolves staring directly at them. John tells the group not to panic and to hold their ground without showing fear. After a tense moment, the wolves slowly retreat back into the darkness. For now, John takes the first watch duty, staying alert through the freezing night while the others try to rest. Later, it becomes Hernandez's turn to stand guard. He walks away from the wreckage to relieve himself near the plane. Suddenly, two massive wolves appear out of the darkness and attack him before he can react. His screams echo briefly through the snow before everything goes silent. The next morning, John wakes up and realizes Hernandez is missing. After searching the area, he finds wolf tracks and signs of a violent struggle. The group is left shocked and terrified, fully understanding that they are now being hunted. John tells everyone they cannot stay there any longer and suggests moving toward a forested area where they might find shelter and better chances of survival. Diaz disagrees and tries to challenge John's leadership, wanting control himself. However, after some argument, the group ultimately chooses to follow John. They gather supplies while John collects fuel to keep fires burning during the journey. Before leaving, John asks everyone to hand over their identification cards so that if anyone dies, he can return them to their family someday. John manages to recover his rifle from the wreckage, but it is badly damaged and no longer useful. He removes the ammunition instead and finds the letter he had written to Sarah earlier. Before departing, Henrik asks the group to say a prayer for the fallen victims. After a brief moment of silence, they begin their journey toward a new location. The cold is brutal, cutting through their bodies with every step, but they keep moving nonstop. John reminds them that stopping for too long means death by freezing. With no choice left, the survivors push forward into the endless frozen wilderness, hoping to stay alive long enough to find safety. Flannery is the slowest while walking through the heavy snow and thick fog. Suddenly, a pack of wolves attacks him. The others hear his screams and run back to help, but they arrive too late because Flannery is already dead. Seeing this, John orders everyone to keep moving toward the forest. They walk faster through the snow because stopping means freezing to death. Soon they reach an area filled with trees and quickly start collecting branches to make a fire. Strange animal sounds echo around them, including foxes and wolves. John understands that the wolf pack will attack again, so he prepares the group for defense. He gathers wooden stakes and uses the ammunition he found earlier to make simple weapons. He tells everyone to tape bullets to the ends of the sticks so when the wolves come close, they can throw them and create an explosive impact. Only 5 men are left alive now, and most of them follow John's plan. Diaz refuses to listen and argues with him. John tells Diaz that he is more afraid of dying than anyone else. Angered by this, Diaz tries to fight John, but John quickly defeats him and pushes him into the snow. At that moment, a loud growl comes from between the trees. Everyone turns and sees a massive wolf staring at them. The group stands ready to defend themselves. After watching them for a moment, the wolf slowly retreats back into the darkness. After this encounter, Diaz finally regrets not trusting John. Suddenly, one of the wolves charges toward them. John reacts instantly, grabbing the weapon he prepared and attacking the animal repeatedly. After a brutal struggle, the wolf finally collapses and dies. Exhausted and starving, the group cooks the meat and eats it just to survive. While they are eating, distant howls echo through the forest. Diaz becomes angry and throws the wolf's head toward the darkness to challenge the pack. In response, a powerful alpha howl shakes the forest, followed by dozens of answering cries. The men realize they are badly outnumbered. The group keeps moving deeper into the wilderness. Burke begins to feel weak and sick, forcing them to stop and rest. Around the fire, they talk briefly about their lives, trying to smile and forget the fear surrounding them. Another freezing night passes. By morning, heavy snowfall covers everything. John tries to wake Burke, but soon realizes he didn't survive the cold night. While searching for direction, John notices markings on a tree trunk. Climbing up, he discovers signs of an old logging area, giving them hope that civilization might be nearby. However, their path leads to a massive cliff. With hungry wolves behind them, turning back isn't an option. The only way forward is to cross using nearby trees. They tie ropes and clothing together to create a makeshift zip line. One man crosses first, praying quietly before jumping and securing the rope on the other side. One by one, the group begins crossing. Talget goes last because he is terrified of heights and his injured hand makes it hard to hold on. As he moves forward, the rope suddenly snaps under pressure. He falls violently onto tree branches below and crashes to the ground, badly injured. In his final moments, memories of his daughter flash through his mind. Before the others can reach him, a new pack of wolves drags him away into the snow. Hearing his screams fade into the distance, the remaining survivors understand the wolves are hunting them one by one. Fear takes over as the three men desperately search for any path that might lead them out alive. Jean and the remaining survivors finally reach a river and decide to follow the current downstream. Diaz's injured knee has become too serious, and he can no longer continue. He sits on a fallen tree near the riverbank, hands John his identification card, and accepts that he won't make it any farther. After saying goodbye, he chooses to stay behind while John and Henrik move on. As they continue walking along the river, wolves begin tracking them again. The two men run, trying to escape, but Henrik slips and falls into the freezing water. The strong current drags him away, forcing John to jump in after him. Henrik gets trapped against a log in the middle of the river. John struggles to pull him free, but the current is too powerful. Unable to save him, John watches helplessly as Henrik drowns. Now completely alone, John sits silently by the river, exhausted and broken. After a moment, he gathers his strength and continues walking through the wilderness. Hours pass with no sign of civilization. Weak and freezing, he finally collapses to his knees. That's when he realizes he has wandered directly into the wolves' den. The pack slowly surrounds him from every direction. In that moment, memories of his wife flash through his mind, giving him the courage to stop running. Instead of surrendering, John prepares to fight. He wraps broken glass and a blade around his hands, ready for one final stand. As the wolves move in to attack, the film ends.